Okay. Well, good morning. It's 7:30. I've got an earlier start today. I'm getting ready to leave. I'm unhooked and everything. I'm going to try to make it to Little Rock today. Little Rock, Arkansas. Arkansas. It's weird spelling. Anyway, that's the plan. And not much else to say. I'll show you the shirt of the day, and then I will hit the road. Check. All right, shirt of the day. It says Daytona 2020. Let's see if I can get a little closer. Hard to do this. And on the back is Daytona 2020. Probably the first time I've ever worn this shirt. I buy them, stack them up, put them in the closet, and that's where they reside. So now they're going to be RV shirts for RV travel. Okay? I'll give you a wrap up tonight with any luck. Well, here we are at a rest stop in Arkansas. Isn't this pretty? Wide open green spaces, lots of room for the dog. Very nice rest area, very nice. Truckers like it too, because I pulled in here, every single truck spot was full. Normally RVs go into these truck spots. There's a gap there now, right there. But when I came in, they were all full, all the way down. So some of us have been reduced to parking on the side right here. There's a trucker, there's a U-Haul, little U-Haul trailer, and there I am. So we're gonna take this guy along and see if we can get him to do his business, and then we'll hit the road again. Okay? That's a good boy. All right, it's Sunday night, and I'm in a KOA in just north of Little Rock, Arkansas. And I'll go outside and show you, because it's kind of nice. It's an older park, but it's nice and shaded. But I wanted to show you something, because there lieth puppy dog up on the couch that every night he swears he can't jump up there, and I have to lift him up, because that lays down into the bed. And that's him. Now, also I've done scans before, but nobody's ever seen the turlet. So I'll show you the turlet. It's right here, and it's self-contained. It's a full service. You got yourself a turlet, you got yourself a vanity, and you got yourself a shower with a tub at the bottom. Little bitty tub, but it's a shower, and it's nice. I can get into it okay. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you the turlet. And I think my daughter sent me this sign. I stuck it up here. Okay, so let's go outside and take a walk around, and I'll show you this KOA that I'm staying at. Well, while we're on the subject of bathrooms and bathtubs and showers, let me tell you a shower / bathtub story, okay? Now that's a small bathtub in there. You'd have to be a very small person to get into it. On the other hand, 6 gallons in the water heater is scalding hot. And if you dilute that with 2 or 3, 6 gallons, 2 or 3 times that, so you get 6 gallons and maybe 12 or 18 gallons, it'll fill that tub up 6-8 inches anyway. You'd get a good bath out of it. Now, the reason I know that is that on our very first camper, 24-foot Keystone toy hauler that we used to pull behind our Dodge 2500 truck, that Keystone had a bathroom bigger than this bathroom, and it had a tub that was roughly twice as big as the one I showed you in there, and a shower. And my wife liked baths, so she really enjoyed having that bathtub, and we would occasionally fill her up with 6 gallons of super hot and maybe 12 gallons of average, and she did a nice warm bath, and really liked it. So when we sold that little camper and bought the first big Class A, the Newmar 40-foot Class A, she was very disappointed that such a luxury coach didn't have a bathtub. It just had a shower. Well, the truth of the matter is, after she passed and I sold that big one, and then I bought a couple of other big ones a few years later, none of them have had showers. Excuse me, none of them have had tubs. They've all had showers. And actually, this is the first RV that I've had since that first camper that has a tub. Be it small, it has a tub. So it's interesting that the small campers, the towable that I had, and this little self-contained B, these are the only two that actually had tubs, while all the big, expensive, luxury 40-foot Class A's didn't. Okay, so we've established that my wife really liked that tub. Now let me tell you my story. She and I were in that camper up in Colorado at a Norton rally, and we got on the Norton, and the Norton had no luggage capabilities at all. So I had my rain suits in a duffel bag, and I gave it to another rider and said, if it starts raining, I'll find you and get my rain suits. So we took off. We went up the $1 Million Highway and cut over to Telluride, I think. Anyway, we went, I think it was like a 300-mile round trip, and it started raining at 50 miles out, and I never saw the guy who had my rain gear. So we were drenched, and then it turned cold. And we went up and turned left and went way over to Telluride, and we were freezing cold. And I had a light jacket, and we stopped at this little store, and I went in and washed my face and hands with hot water to try to thaw out. And I bought 4 t-shirts because I was soaked, and I put those t-shirts over top of my t-shirt. And we went out, and the chase truck showed up, and I said, "That's it. We're not, sweetheart. You're not getting on the bike again. Get in the chase truck." So I put her in the truck, and they left, which is interesting because he's a chase truck. He left first. What can you say? And I rode that Norton through this freezing rain, all the way back down through Cortez, and I think the campsite was down in Cortez. Can't remember. By the time I got down there to our parked RV, I was so cold. I stopped outside the rig, and I got my right foot down on the ground, but I couldn't pick up my left foot and put it down. I actually had to reach down and pick up my left foot off the peg, and then put both feet on the ground. Now here I am straddling the Norton, and I got to put the side stand down, and I couldn't do it. I was at the point where I'm going to say to halibut with it, I'm just going to drop it on its side because I can't do this. Well, through superhuman effort, I lifted my right leg, got it up over the bike, got hold of that stupid Norton side stand, which was tucked way up underneath, and got it on the side stand. And then I staggered in, and she came out and said, "Oh my God, Frank, you look like you're dying." And I said, in the camper, get in the camper, run hot water in the tub, run hot water in the tub. And she went in and she turned on the hot water and then the cold water, and then in addition to that, she would put a couple of big pans of water on the stove and turn them on to get them hot. In the interim, while she's doing that, I'm stripping down to my bare birthday suit, and I get in that water and let the warmth slowly, ever so slowly, defrost me. And let me tell you, at that point in time, I really appreciated having a bathtub. So, no, this little bathtub, I'm not sure maybe I could kneel in it, but who knows. I'll be taking a shower. showers, because I hope never to be as cold as I was that day. So that's my bathtub in the RV story. All right, we will continue with what we're doing today. Here we go. Okay, so like I said, it's an older park. You can tell by the trees and the green and the spots. And there's the typical KOA office over there. And this is where they put little bitty rigs like mine down here and these pull-throughs and other rigs. And then way back there, you can see where the big part of the park is. It goes back into those trees. So it's kind of nice. Older park. I'm comfortable here. And over the last few days, I found out that the not KOA parks are costing as much as KOA parks. And that's a nice little deal there in this next parking area. Anyway, so the ones that are not KOA are costing just as much. It's very frustrating because you never know what you're going to get. Now, KOA is sort of like the McDonald's of RV parks. You know what you're going to get. You know it's going to be a certain quality. You know it. You know what you're going to get. It's always the same. So that's nice, and that's why I'm staying at KOA, because I'm just tired of getting to some place that looks good on the internet and finding out it's a scuzz bucket place, of which happened a couple of these last times. They weren't that great. So here we are, nice and green, nice and clean, and KOA, and that's what I'm doing. Well, here I are in Little Rock, Arkansas, at the Little Rock North KOA. I think I mentioned that up when I was outside. Not much else to say today. It was an uneventful day. We drove, 344 miles, me and Stumpy, and we did it in 7 hours, which works out to be something shy of 50 miles an hour average, which, considering stopping for him to take a potty break and run around and do some serious sniffing, and for me to take a potty break and run around, what can I say, and stop for a McDonald's, that's 50 miles an hour is pretty much average. I used to tell my motorcycle rental clients that they were going to average 200 miles a day or less and average 40 miles an hour. And most of my motorcycle rental riders were big guys. Hoorah, I'm a much bigger, better, badder biker than you. I'm going to average 60 miles an hour, and I'm going to do 400 miles a day. I just don't stop. And I'd say, well, you know, if you want to have a cup of coffee, maybe a lunch, stop at an overlook, take a potty break, well, we'll see. And they'd come back 1 or 2 weeks later, and then I'd do the miles, and they'd average something less than 200 miles a day, 40 miles an hour. So, what can you say? 50 miles an hour in an RV for all day long ain't bad. That's about it, really, as far as the trip is. Totally uneventful, which is the best kind of trip. And but I have been thinking. I have these, wild thoughts, weird thoughts. You're driving down a road, not much else to do, except pay attention to the road. But I was thinking about this product that I've been planning for a couple of years. It's kind of cool, and I'll tell you about it. I am looking for investors, so I'll tell you about it. It's made specifically for Tesla cars, people who own Teslas, okay? And I mean specifically for Teslas. And what it is, it'll be a very flexible, long strip of LED displays that are made to match the contour of the Tesla dashboard perfectly, slightly flexible so they'll fit and adhere. Self-contained, self-powered, and they would give all the readouts that you get on that big, ugly iPad situation, but they'd be constant, so you could look up there and see your speed, the speed limit, your ETA at the destination, your time at the destination, charging the batteries, battery status, miles to battery, charge, this, that, and the other. Everything you can see on the big flat screen that you have to go over there and pick on would be displayed continuously, so you can just eyeball what's going on. And I think it's a great idea. It's something that GPS units have never had. And this would combine GPS with all the Tesla sensors, and it would be really cool. And it would have a sender unit. It'd have this display unit, and then it would have a sender unit that picks up all of the different signals through RF energy, so that there's no wiring at all. The pickup will be completely wireless and self-powered. And it'll be, I've designed it, it's about 3 inches long, about 1.5 inches in diameter, and it's got 4 big spring assemblies on 4 sides of the round cylinder. And to make it easy to install, what you do is you shove it up the exhaust pipe on the Tesla, and it'll hold itself in there, and then the exhaust gases will cause it to heat and generate the electricity it needs. And so it's self-powering. And I think that'd be a really cool idea for Tesla owners. And like I say, I'm looking for investors. If anybody wants to invest in my new company to make these this Tesla accessory, just let me know, okay? So anyway, that's about as much as I have for you. I'll if anything interesting happens, I'll give you a holler. Bye.